Okay, so I just listened to this new Mac DeMarco album, Here Comes the Cowboy. Is this a joke? Now granted, I don't really have any experience with Mac DeMarco in the first place, but at the same time, like, so much of the instrumental, so much of the vocal, so much of the lyrics are so half-assed. Like, the drums are barely there half the time. And the lyrics, whenever they're not repeating the title for the entire course of the song, like the title track, I genuinely don't see how anyone possibly could like this record so far. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a market for very minimal cowboy pop. Half of the guitars on here, they sound less genuine than the ones on Old Town Road, okay? I see a little bit of some lyrical themes about, you know, the cowboy and how he wants to move into the city and how he's gonna find a cowgirl who also likes to move into the city. Just come on, this is just garbage. I'll give it a couple more listens and see if maybe I'll change my mind, but I highly doubt it.
Man, I'm just not enjoying this album at all. I honestly don't even know why I'm giving this album multiple listens. I mean, there really isn't that much to digest. You have songs with choruses that barely function as choruses, annoying guitar loops and progressions that manage to sound both unresolved yet unfantastic at the same time, and drums that might as well not even exist. I mean, there are some synth parts that caught my eye, such as on Heart to Heart, but then again, are they really interesting, or are they just something different? Because the other thing about this record is that dynamically it's very flat, compositionally it's very one-dimensional, and overall there's just nothing to return to with this. Maybe I should give the lyrics a deeper analysis when there are different lyrics, but other than that, yeah, I'm just having a miserable time listening to this.
Alright, so I've given Here's the Cowboy a few more listens, and I will say, as much as I really dislike this record, it's very easy to go to sleep to it. And I can only say that because I literally fell asleep while listening to this record. So I guess in some respects it does have a very chill vibe about it, that if you are into very chill sort of music, you might enjoy this somewhat. But personally, that's not my vibe at all. If you're going to be chill, I feel like you need to have some sort of technicality or lyrical genius to the melodies that you write or the lyrics that you have. And with how sparse this record ends up being, yeah, I really can't endorse this record at all. I might try and do a listen while looking at the lyrics, see if I'm missing something. But other than that, I feel like there isn't really much to comprehend for this record. Alright, so I think I'm ready to give my final verdict on Here Comes the Cowboy. Overall, it's just such an excruciatingly bland and boring listen throughout. Every time I try to pay attention to the lyrics that so many people have cited as their favorite part of the record, everything just blends out. Which is really weird considering that the vocals are the most highly mixed in the entire record. And honestly, I feel like a lot of this has to do with the fact that Mac DeMarco chose Here Comes the Cowboy as the opening song. The instrumental for that song is so repetitive and nothing changes all throughout, regardless of lyrics, regardless of any sort of progressional changes, regardless of rhythm changes. Nothing changes. And repetition doesn't have to be bad, I understand that, but when you have a song like that at the beginning of your record, you begin to realize that any sort of repetition that follows, you associate back to the beginning. Like, honestly, if that song wasn't on this record, I would think that this record wouldn't be as lazy as it sounds. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't any good moments on this record, there certainly are, but at the same time, when they do crop up, it feels like I'm digging through a pile of shit just to find a $1 bill. And when the chord progressions on here are nifty, they sound so suspenseful when they lead up to nothing at all, especially on Hey Cowgirl, where they focus on the predominant and the dominant so far before we get onto the main chord. And that doesn't really make for really great songwriting when you have an album as chill as this one is. Again, I can see the appeal in something being very chill and minimal. I certainly can. But at the same time, there's a difference between something being chill for the sake of it being very lazily constructed and something being very chill because of its technical capabilities. And this one certainly doesn't fall under the latter category. Here's a list of some of my favorite and least favorite songs throughout this record. As you can tell, there's a lot more that I disliked more than liked. The acoustic ballads like K and Skyless Moon just really don't do a lot for me. And of course, Here Comes the Cowboy and Choo Choo and Bye Bye are so... I really just don't want to hear them ever again. Again, there's some good songs on this record, like Heart to Heart and All of Our Yesterdays and Finally Alone. Those, I think, can be salvaged. But dear God, are they just hidden in a complete mess of a record. Overall, I really don't want to listen to this album ever again. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10, and I'll leave it at that.